In the summer of 1993, Old Trafford was buzzing with energy. United had just ended their 26-year-long wait for a league title, but Sir Alex Ferguson saw that triumph as merely a starting block. He told reporters, "The trick after success is not to look back on what you've done, but forward to what you're going to do next." Welcome to a new series of videos highlighting the greatest teams in the Premier League era. A series that will see us focus on the greatest title-winning sides from the likes of Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City and Leicester. In today's video, we start with, in my opinion, the most underrated great team in Premier League history, Man United's double-winning side of 1994. United's transfer window was quiet but shrewd. The departure of stalwarts like Mike Phelan and forward Dion Dublin cleared space. Ferguson had eyes on a new midfield linchpin to replace the aging Brian Robson, Roy Keane. The fiery Irish midfielder was signed from relegated Nottingham Forest for £3.75 million. At the time, this was a British record transfer fee. United's players had been thoroughly impressed by Keane in the 1992 League Cup final win over Forest. Most notably, Gary Pallister remarked later, "If you could sign a player next season, to a man, we all said Keane." Sir Alex favoured a 4-4-2 formation. He had defensive stalwarts in Steve Bruce and Gary Pallister as the centre-back pairing, Paul Parker and Dennis Irwin as full-backs. Irwin was the only player from the squad to start all 42 games in the league for Man United that season. In midfield, Paul Ince and Roy Keane provided the strength, whilst the likes of Andrzej Kanchelskis, Ryan Giggs and Lee Sharp provided the width and creativity. Up front, it was Matt Hughes and Eric Cantona. But there was one player who stood tallest for Man United this season. It was Cantona. If ever there was one player made for Manchester United, it was Cantona, Sir Alex later reflected. United kicked off their campaign on August 15, 1993, away at Norwich City. Norwich had made a surprise title challenge the previous season, eventually finishing third. United made light work of them with a comfortable 2-0 win thanks to goals from Giggs and Brian Robson. They then dispatched Sheffield United at Old Trafford 3-0. Thanks to 2 goals from Roy Keane. They drew 1-1 with Newcastle before beating last season's runners-up, Aston Villa, 2-1 in a tight game. United were now top of the table with 10 points. Remarkably, they would stay at the top of the table for the rest of the season. Despite the strong start to the season, Sir Alex was not complacent and stressed United's lofty targets for the campaign, telling his players and reporters, "This club's history demands we aim for every trophy." The first loss of the season for United came in a Week 7 game at Chelsea on September 11th, a 1-0 defeat. Incredibly, United would not lose in the league again until the 5th of March 94. United followed the defeat with an 8-game winning streak between September 19th and November 20th. This included notable wins such as a 1-0 win over Arsenal and 2-1 versus Tottenham. Perhaps the most remarkable win over this run was against bitter rivals Man City on November 7th. City took a 2-0 lead in the first half thanks to 2 goals from Niall Quinn. But in the second half, United showed remarkable tenacity. Cantona scored twice before Keane scored the winner with a header in the 86th minute to secure a 3-2 win. Keane would later comment, "You could see it in everyone's eyes. We weren't leaving without the win." United now had an 11-point lead at the top of the table after just 14 games. Before moving on, please consider liking, sharing and subscribing. This is my first video in a series focusing on the best teams of the Premier League era. My next video will be on Arsenal's double-winning side of 97 to 98. Thanks for watching. But it was not all plain sailing for United. Their major failure in the season came in the UEFA Champions League. They beat Budapest Honved 5-3 over 2 legs in the first round in September. But in the second leg, they faced tougher competition against Galatasaray. In the first leg at Old Trafford, United raced into a 2-0 lead thanks to an early goal from Brian Robson and a Hakan Şükür own goal. But surprisingly, United capitulated and Galatasaray scored 3 goals to take the lead. Cantona scored a late equaliser as the game finished 3-3. The second leg finished goalless and United crashed out on away goals. The pressure of an away leg had got to them. Gary Neville later recalled the most incredible noise, one side of the ground followed by the other. Cantona lamented the performance as only he could. Galatasaray is a little team, but today so were Manchester United. December would be an up and down month for United as they alternated between wins and draws. They played 6 league games in the month, winning 3 and drawing 3. The most important of those wins came at home against Villa on the 19th of December. Cantona gave United the lead after 21 minutes when he tapped in Keane's low cross. Despite their dominance, the game remained 1-0 until the 89th minute. Cantona scored a second goal after meeting a through ball and slotting the ball in. Paul Ince then scored another just a minute later after capitalising on a defensive mistake. Neil Cox scored a minute later for Villa, but United won 3-1. The most crucial draw came at home against Blackburn Rovers on the 26th of December. Blackburn had started to charge up the table and were now in 3rd place, still a huge 13 points behind United. But a win for Blackburn could have given them some momentum. Kevin Gallagher gave Blackburn the lead after just 15 minutes. Gallagher dribbled past Pallister before poking the ball past Schmeichel. United were nowhere near their best, and despite having more possession, they rarely created chances. Shearer almost made it too late on, but Schmeichel saved his header. In the 89th minute, United found an equaliser via Paul Ince. He tapped the ball in after Tim Flowers had spilt the ball. United then thrashed Oldham 5-2 to end the year 13 points clear at the top of the table. Manchester United were running away with the title. On the 4th of January, United faced Liverpool at Anfield. The game would go down as one of the best in their eternal rivalry. United would get off to a flying start, with Bruce scoring with a header after just 9 minutes. In the 20th minute, they doubled their lead after a sublime chip finish from Giggs. In the 24th minute, United won a free kick 25 yards out from goal. Dennis Irwin stepped up and scored an inch-perfect free kick into the top corner to give United a 3-0 win. The game seemed to be over, but Liverpool staged an incredible comeback. Just 1 minute later, Nigel Clough scored with a brilliant strike from 30 yards that went in off the post. Clough then scored again after 38 minutes to make it 3-2. In an end-to-end second half, it was Liverpool who got the goal. With 11 minutes left, Neil Ruddock scored with a powerful header to complete the comeback. Despite blowing the big lead, Sir Alex was still able to appreciate the quality of the game. That was incredible stuff. The excitement, the pace of it. They ran a yard further and a yard faster. The crowd had them at fever pitch. On the 9th of January 1994, United began their FA Cup run in the 3rd round away at Sheffield United. In a hard-fought game, Mark Hughes scored the solitary goal in the 61st minute. He exchanged a nice 1-2 with Paul Ince before slotting it in off the post. They got another win in the 4th round of the FA Cup against Norwich. Goals from Keane and Cantona secured a 2-0 victory. After the epic encounter with Liverpool, United's league form continued to be strong. They won 3 games in a row against Tottenham, Everton and QPR. United finally tasted defeat in the league again on the 5th of March. Ironically, it was Chelsea again who beat them. Gavin Peacock scored the winner for Chelsea. Their 22-game league unbeaten run was over. Man United was still 10 points clear at the top of the table, but Blackburn were starting to build momentum and were now the only challengers to United. March ended up being a tough month for United. Following the defeat to Chelsea, they thrashed Sheffield Wednesday 5-0, but then drew 2-2 twice in a row against Swindon Town and Arsenal respectively. The lead over Blackburn had now slipped to 8 points. Even more crucially, Cantona had been sent off in both games. First for a stamp on John Moncur against Swindon, and then for 2 yellow cards against Arsenal. This meant he was banned for 5 league games. Worse still was to follow. Man United had also been on a great run in the League Cup. They had beaten Stoke City, Leicester, Everton, Portsmouth and Sheffield Wednesday to book a place in the final against Aston Villa. They were dreaming of becoming only the second English team to win a domestic treble after Liverpool in 1984. The final was played on the 27th of March. Villa were big underdogs because of their poor form, which had seen them lose 3 games in a row. Sir Alex played a full-strength side, barring Schmeichel, who was suspended. Cantona was only banned in the league. United had more of the possession, but Villa defender Paul McGrath defended brilliantly to limit their chances. After 26 minutes, it was Villa who struck first. Dean Saunders flicked a pass beautifully into the path of Dalian Atkinson, who ran onto it in the box and poked it in. The second half played out in a similar fashion. United had more of the ball, but struggled to create chances. Villa were very effective on the break. In the 75th minute, Villa earned a free kick out wide. Richardson swung it in and Saunders stuck a leg out to poke it in and give Villa a 2-0 lead. In the 83rd minute, Mark Hughes tapped the ball in from close range after a corner to half the deficit. United pushed for an equaliser in the remaining minutes. Hughes almost scored again with a volley, but Bosnich made the save. In stoppage time, Villa won a controversial penalty for handball. Andrei Konchelskis was deemed to have handballed on the goal line. He was sent off. Saunders drilled the ball down the middle to secure a 3-1 win for Villa. The treble dream was over for United, at least for this season. More on 99 later in the series. Rather than letting the setback derail the season, Sir Alex would later describe this as the reset moment. A critical part of the league campaign came within a few days of the cup final defeat. United played Liverpool and Blackburn up next. The game against Liverpool was played at Old Trafford. In a tight and cagey affair, Paul Ince scored the only goal via a header in the 36th minute to secure United a crucial win. Blackburn away just a couple of days later proved to be a different story. Blackburn were just 5 points behind and knew the game was a must-win to have any hopes of winning the league. Blackburn took the lead in the 46th minute when Sherwood put in a perfect cross for Shearer to head home into the far corner. Shearer then secured a 2-0 win in the 76th minute. He ran onto a long pass and rifled the ball in past Schmeichel. Incredibly, United were now just 2 points ahead of Blackburn in the league table. Just 3 months earlier, United had a 16 points lead at the top. Sir Alex would later reflect on the defeat. We were very disappointed. I think 2 or 3 of us got onto each other, if I remember correctly, after the game. We did have a pop at each other. The pressure is on. Even though their league form had started to drop, United continued to show great form in the FA Cup. They had beaten Wimbledon and Charlton Athletic to secure a place in the semi-final. Oldham Athletic awaited them. Oldham were in a relegation battle and a routine win was expected for United. Instead, it proved to be a long and tough battle. The game was played at Wembley. Despite their best efforts, neither team was able to create many chances, and it was still goalless after 90 minutes. The game went into extra time. Mark Hughes had a great chance with a header early in extra time, but it was saved. It was Oldham who took the lead in the 106th minute. A corner was whipped in, but Schmeichel came out to catch it but spilt it into the path of Neil Poynton, who tapped it in. It looked like United's double dream would end, but in typical Fergie-era United fashion, they found a late goal. In the 120th minute, Hughes latched onto a ball hooked into the box and produced a stunning volley into the far corner. A replay would later decide the semi-final just 3 days later. Oldham seemed to come into the game mentally drained, as United swept them aside in the replay. Irwin and Konchelskis scored early to give United a 2-0 lead. Poynton got one back in the first half, but Robson and Giggs scored in the second half to secure a 4-1 win. Remarkably in the league, Blackburn beat Aston Villa on the 11th of April to go level at the top of the table with United. Blackburn had overturned a 16-point deficit. United played Wimbledon next in a crucial game away at Selhurst Park. Despite its importance, Wimbledon won 1-0 thanks to a goal from Fashanu. Blackburn had a golden chance to go top of the table, but they inexplicably lost 3-1 to relegation-threatened Southampton. United was still at the top of the table, just. Perhaps the most important moment of United's league campaign came on the 23rd of April. Cantona was finally back from his suspension in a game against bitter rivals Man City. Cantona opened the scoring after 40 minutes when he tapped in a low cross from Kanchelskis. Just 5 minutes later, Cantona was put through and he slotted the ball in to secure a 2-0 win for United. Blackburn the very next day faltered again as they drew 1-1 at home to QPR. The win seemed to kickstart United's season. They beat Leeds 2-0 and then Ipswich 2-1, which put them on the brink of winning their second league title in a row. Blackburn handed the title over to United the very next day after losing 2-1 to Coventry. In the end, Blackburn's title challenge collapsed and they ended up 8 points behind United, who finished with an incredible 92 points. They set a new record for the most points in a league season, beating their previous record from last season. Now, all that remained was the FA Cup final. Their opponents were Chelsea, who had beaten them twice that season. Another tough game was expected, and in the first half, that proved to be the case. Chelsea were the better of the two teams and had the best chance via a Gavin Peacock half volley that hit the bar. It was in the second half where United took complete control. In the 61st minute, Eddie Newton made a poor challenge on Irwin to concede a penalty. Cantona took the penalty and put it into the bottom right corner. In the 67th minute, United got another penalty. This one was more controversial. Sinclair was deemed to have barged into Andre Kanchelskis. Cantona again took the penalty and once again put it into the bottom right corner. Just 2 minutes later, United scored a third when Sinclair slipped and Hughes capitalised by putting the ball into the bottom left corner. United wrapped up a 4-0 win deep into stoppage time when Hughes put Ince through on goal. Ince went past Karin and squared it in for Brian McFlair to tap it in. Manchester United had completed the League and FA Cup double. They were just the fourth team to do it in the 20th century after Tottenham in 1961, Arsenal in 1971 and Liverpool in 1986. The 1993-94 Manchester United side is widely regarded as one of the most dominant and complete teams in English football history. Building on their 1992-93 title win, Sir Alex Ferguson crafted a balanced squad that combined defensive resilience, midfield control, and attacking flair. The summer signing of Roy Keane from Nottingham Forest added steel, while the side's spine, Peter Schmeichel, Steve Bruce, Gary Pallister, Paul Ince, Ryan Giggs, Eric Cantona, and Mark Hughes provided both quality and leadership. They were able to evenly distribute goals throughout the squad. Cantona, Hughes, Giggs, Sharp and Kanchelskis all scored 10 or more goals across all competitions. Eric Cantona was named PFA Player of the Season. That was the story of Manchester United's double-winning side of 1994. My next video will be on Arsenal and their double-winning side of the 97-98 season. So, if you'd like to learn more, click subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching.